This is Critical Drinker, Drinkers Chasers, and the title of this video is Supergirl may flop as hard as the Marvels. And that's because a lot of people now, they've moved on from Star Wars. They're now trying to go after Supergirl because it is a fast-moving year for content. 2026, there's a lot of stuff coming out very close together, and then August is going to be kind of dead. It's going to be a dead month for movies. So if you're going to grift, now is the time. And Supergirl is the next target. They've already started with the Millie Alcock stuff. We've seen the videos of them crashing out over her talking about trolls, misrepresenting. I did a video about that this past week. Let's see where they go.
You know what's not tracking to be successful, though? Supergirl, apparently.
No way.
Really? Who could have predicted this? The long-range tracking is in for this, and there's some articles that are now starting to crop up about it. There's one here. This is from the Washington Times. Why is that there?
Senior dating.
It's really weird they find these random websites. When I watch these videos, they're like, oh, it's from snapcracklepopculture.com. It's from this random newspaper from a small city in the Midwest. Like, where do these articles are so, like, can't you find larger articles to corroborate your story? Why do you have to find fringe articles? So weird.
Oh my, the doctors reveal the main reason for a big belly.
Yeah, I love the adverts that come up on this. What have we got here?
Tourist traps.
You know why these ads pop up this way? Because it's a shit site. Sites with ads like this that cover the entire page and you can't click through to the page typically do that because they are getting you with clickbait. And they want to get that ad in and make it hard for you to get to the article.
Anyway, Supergirl tracking data draws concern from box office analysts ahead of June opening. So early tracking projections for Supergirl have drawn concern.
My God, can the article be spread out any fucking larger on the screen? You do realize that if you take it out of full screen mode and make the browser smaller, the article will be larger and the people that are watching your show can read the article with you instead of using a magnifying glass. You do realize that. All right, so let me click over. Actually, we're not going to do that because there's a million ads here. There's a million ads. I literally closed an ad and another ad popped up. God, this site is awful. It is awful. All right, so here is the actual article. And just read because these ads are fucking crazy. Early tracking projections for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow have drawn concern from box office analysts about the film's commercial prospects, with its domestic debut potentially falling well below last year's opener, Superman. Well, I wouldn't expect Supergirl to have a larger box office than Superman. So I'm going to leave this article open over here so I can kind of check some of the stuff as they go through it and not deal with the ads. By the way, primo add-on if you're using Chrome, download Just Read. You can right-click almost any website and turn it into just a text-based page with no ads and no pop-ups. Highly recommend.
Supergirl tracking data draws concern from box office analysts ahead of June opening. So early tracking projections for Supergirl have drawn concern about the film's commercial prospects, with its domestic debut potentially falling well below last year's DCU opener, Superman, which...
Again, by the way, I mean, I'm not trying to diminish Supergirl. I love Supergirl. It's one of my most anticipated movies of the year. But expecting Supergirl to hit the same numbers as Superman is delusional, I guess.
Wasn't successful, by the way. According to box office theory project,
it was. They love to do that. Superman was successful. It was. They keep saying it because they know that they're trying to convince their viewers that it wasn't. It was. They greenlit a sequel almost immediately. Why would you greenlight a sequel to a movie if it were a flop? The math doesn't math. It doesn't make sense.
The Warner Brothers release is currently forecast to debut domestically between 47 and 65 million. That range would put it between the Marvels, which opened at 46, and Black Adam, which opens to 67, both of which were fucking disastrous bombs.
Notable disasters. Yeah, like
But again, they love to do this, like this comparison to other random cherry-picked movies. This kind of discourse is not healthy for films. This is very, very, very lazy discussions about the quality of a movie. Can we talk about how good the movie is going to be? Is that possible? Is it possible to talk about the quality of the movie? Like watch the movie when it comes out and then go, yeah, I liked it. Oh, it was just okay. No, I hated it. Can we do that? What difference do the box office numbers make if the movie is good? How many people out there change their opinion about a movie if the box office is low? I don't think I haven't personally done it, and I don't know anybody who has. Who's gone out there and been like, I love this movie. I went and saw it 3 times. And then by the end of the week, the box office isn't great. And you're like, I changed my mind. It didn't make a ton of money. So now I don't like the movie. Who does that? No one does that. The box office numbers do not equate to your personal feelings on the movie, your personal like or dislike of the movie. Captain Marvel made over $1 billion, and trying to convince these guys that makes any sense would be like impossible. It would be impossible to do that. So the idea that the box office somehow reflects the quality of the project before we've ever even seen it. And by the way, these are early projections. Early projections. Some places aren't even selling tickets yet for Supergirl.
Well reported, massive consequences, disasters.
So it's either like it's going to be a marginal disaster or a complete and total clusterfuck disaster.
I think it says so much about the way that people feel about this and kind of broadly the DC universe that like well before even these projections have started to emerge, there was like, no, the budget's actually not going to be that big. No, it only needs to make this much money to be profitable. It's like, man, it's weird. I don't see people saying this for like other, upcoming. I'm not seeing people say this about Toy Story 5, for instance. Like,
I mean, because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Right? I mean, that's so stupid. Just because I don't see people living and existing in Argentina, that means Argentina isn't real? Anecdotal evidence does not mean anything.
Trying to rationalize how much money it needs to make at the box office in order to justify its existence. And I'm sure that movie's going to suck.
You don't have to justify existence of films. This is lazy criticism. Coming from somebody on EFAP, it doesn't really surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Trying to justify the existence of a piece of art through capitalism is crazy. It's disgusting. It's not how a film critic should criticize the integrity of a movie or a TV show. It's antithetical to real film criticism. It's a thought-terminating cliche. It shuts down any sort of talk about it. If somebody says they don't understand why something exists, why are we even talking about anything at that point? What's the point of talking about how good the special effects were, the acting was, the script, the soundtrack, the score? What's the point of talking about any of that if you've already questioned whether or not this thing needs to exist?
But it's just funny to me.
Early tracking ranges for Superman put it at 154 to 175 million on the same metrics, which means Supergirl.
Hold on for a second. So Superman actually opened, I'm looking back at the opening weekend from July 13th of last year. Superman had 125 million domestic opening and 95 million in international. So that's the actual number. It was 125.
Is hitting. I said it would cap at a 40% success rate of Superman, but it's looking at about a 30% right now.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I don't know why anybody would have expected otherwise.
Yeah,
even if the film
that's all you're going to read in the article? Okay, we're going to go back and finish listening to them, but there's more there. I want to point out though, one of the things that people have not talked about is that Supergirl had a tax credit. And once that tax credit is applied to the budget and the production budget, it brings Supergirl down to 110-ish, around 110 for production budget. which makes recouping money for that movie much easier to achieve because of that reason. There is a UK film tax incentive system. Big budget blockbusters qualify for a core tax credit rate of 34% on eligible British production, which is a net benefit of about 25.5% after taxes. Supergirl did qualify for the tax break, and that would bring the budget down to around 110. So the movie's 170 estimated budget would come down to 110.
It's amazing, which let's be real, it won't be. There's no way. Like at best, it will probably be and I doubt it will be that. But even then, like, how does it overcome? It has to make less money than Superman, obviously. It's like Superman adjacent, but not as well.
So then what are we doing here? What are we doing here? If you know it's going to make less money than Superman, why are we sitting here crying and being giddy that it's going to make less money than Superman? He said it's going to make less money than Superman, obviously. Yes. Yes, it will. So what's the point of all this?
Well known.
If it is at 30% of what Superman did, you're talking about like a 200 million.
200 million, yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is reasonable at this point.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's what The Flash did, and The Flash had fucking Batman in it.
Yeah, dude, I've seen people suggest.
Yes, The Flash, the movie that was the tail end of a dead universe that had tons and tons and tons of flops prior to it. And Ezra Miller was the lead. Also very controversial. Millie Alcock is only controversial to you guys because you're outraged by anything that she says. Other than that, most people like Millie Alcock.
That's the Lobos in it, so it's just like
that is crazy. That is crazy and silly. That is. I don't know why people would say that. Oh yeah, Lobo. Yeah, do we want to figure out what the name recognition for Lobo is for general audiences?
I just want to go to like random people in the street.
Okay, so now we're not catering to the fans. Now we have to cater to the general audience. This is film criticism from these guys when they've been saying for years that you should be making these movies for the fans. Lobo is there for the fans, obviously, right? So if Lobo is there for the fans, then why are they getting hit by the EFAP guys here for including a character that cannot be advertised easily to the general audience? So then, do you make consumer slop to go out to the general audience? Or do you focus on making content for the fans? I guess it really just depends on what they're trying to grift on any given day.
Hey, what do you think of Lobo as a character? What the fuck? Get out of my way.
They would be like, low blow? You're like, no, Lobo.
This just in, including a classic, DC character that everybody has been asking for years in live action. Now he's so niche and unknown. Why include him at all? That's where we are. That's where we're at with these guys. We're now making fun of them including Lobo in a DC movie for the first time ever. So do we make it for the fans or do we not make it for the fans? Which one is it?
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is, I feel like I saw it was a headline for a Variety article that was essentially something along the lines of, so we'll see how well Spider-Man's going to do. It's probably going to make a lot of money, and Supergirl will be sort of a test for whether or not you can make non-tentpole superhero movies anymore, which I basically agree with that as a point, but it's more so like, well, there's no test. I mean, we know what the trajectory is. We kind of saw the trajectory last year with Marvel and how even Fantastic Four made $500 million on like a $200 million budget at least. It's like, all right, well, ripperoonie that. If you're not able to find success with Fantastic Four, which is, relatively well known, not as well known as like, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, but relatively well known. I mean, what chance have you got with these sorts of characters?
Like, what I love about the criticism these guys give is it's so fucking narrow and it's so reductive? Are we going to ignore a lot of other factors affecting movie releases and the box office and the economy in the United States? We're just going to ignore all of that? Is that just not even, it's not even a part of discussion about this? What happened with last year's superhero movie releases were they were pancaked. I talked about this leading into the summer. I said it then, and I've been saying it this year. Releasing movies so close together that overlap audiences in a bad economy is going to make people have to pick and choose what they're going to see. And sometimes movies that they actually like are going to get missed because they're going to wait and watch it later. That's just the reality of it. Right now, gas is almost $5 a gallon where I live. People are not coming out. I work in the entertainment industry. People are not coming out and spending money like they did like 2-3 years ago. They're not. The economy is just not good. So there's a lot of other factors leading into this, but that would require mature film criticism. You'd look at everything outside of this movie is woke and slop. You would look at all of those factors, but these guys don't do that because their audience, the people that watch them, are too fucking stupid and too juvenile and too small-brained to even for a second consider that these guys are not actually criticizing in good faith.
Like Supergirl, like you're probably rapidly entering into an era where you can't make money on superhero movies unless it's Avengers, and even that remains to be seen in terms of you can make money given how expensive.
Well, then if you don't know if Avengers is going to make money, this is what I'm talking about. Pick a side, take a stance on this. Is Avengers going to be a big money maker because it's attached to a tentpole franchise? If it is, then you could make this argument about Supergirl. But preemptively making the argument about Supergirl while also questioning whether or not the Avengers is going to make money means that you don't have any fucking idea what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You're creating a situation where chaos is your metric. You don't know if Avengers is going to make money, but Avengers is also the example you're using to disparage Supergirl. You have to have a stance somewhere.
That film's probably going to turn out to be. Or you can only do Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, maybe, Hulk, like these sorts of characters.
Well, you just said that Superman, not you, but this panel just said that Superman was a flop. So can you do Superman or can't you do Superman? You're naming off characters that I presume make big money for these studios. We're going to run it back. And you mentioned Superman. But Critical Drinker just said like less than 2 minutes ago that Superman was a flop. So is Superman guaranteed money or is Superman a flop?
You can make money given how expensive that film's probably going to turn out to be. Or you can only do Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, maybe, Hulk, like these sorts of characters.
Hulk, notoriously known for huge box office.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is a contraction to the point where like only the very core characters that have always been viable are going to be.
Like Superman, the movie you just trashed. I mean, am I losing my mind? Didn't you just trash Superman?
Be still capable of generating a bit of money for you, as you say, like the Batmans, the Supermans, the Wolverines, whatever it might be there, like and the Avengers, which is like essentially blowing your entire load in one gigantic movie. I think it's almost mathematically impossible for that thing to turn a profit. Like it's going to be so insanely expensive. But
so it's a failure. Can we just have one cohesive argument or thought in one video? Can we just follow one logical fucking train of thought? Is Avengers the metric? Is that the bar? Or is it a movie that's not going to turn a profit? Is Superman an IP that's guaranteed success? Or did we just have a Superman movie last year that you claim didn't make any money? Like, is there a logical connecting train of thought here? Is there any criticism here that lines up and makes sense?
As they've maybe alluded to, it's not even about turning a profit there. It's about generating some kind of fan interest again, trying to rekindle that fire. But it's like you're trying to rekindle ashes at this point. There's just not much combustible.
So was it... is Avengers movies are they profitable or not? Every Avengers movie has been profitable. So if you're judging it based on the success of Avengers movies, then it looks really good for that movie. But if you go, I'm going to ignore the success of the Avengers as a franchise, that those films as a franchise, and just go, I'm going to judge it by the success of every Marvel movie that is underperformed, then of course you could argue about like this may not make any money. But that doesn't make sense because the Avengers brand, the name The Avengers, has made money for them every time they've made a movie.
No material left because it's all been done.
Three. Yeah,
we're not judging this potential of Supergirl though off like what Supergirl could be. We're judging it off the current one. And the current pitch for this movie is essentially depressed woman goes on a drinking bender and wears doesn't even wear the Supergirl outfit for most of the movie.
And so that makes you not want to watch it, considering your host's character is a depressed, angry, drunk person. So I guess it's okay for a man to play that character. That's quite fine. No issue with that. But if a woman is playing that kind of a character, that's not anything anybody wants to see. It's just not a good character. And she wears regular clothes once in a while in the movie. I forgot that's a big problem.
So it's probably like, yeah, you can't coast along on your laurels and make side hero stories off the peaks of the highs, because those highs have also gone, so you can't carry all of the weaker stuff. But I still think you could do side movies if you actually
if the brand was really healthy and you'd had like a good series of establishing movies. So if you'd had, say, Superman and it'd been a phenomenal success and it had done like over $1 billion.
Wait, you just said that Superman was one of those guaranteed successes just a second ago. But now we're back to Superman didn't perform well. The flip-flopping is crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy.
Dollars, like everyone's popping the champagne corks. Great. If you then followed that up with a Batman movie and a Wonder Woman movie that were all successful as well, great. You've essentially got phase one of the new DCU.
So you want them to copy Marvel. You want them to just copy Marvel. You want individual character movies leading into the Justice League. And they have to be just the most well-known consumer-friendly versions of those characters.
Then you'd have what I would do then is have a Justice League movie or some kind of team-up movie, an Avengers.
You just argued for them to follow the path of Marvel, but you see where Marvel is today, right? You see where Marvel is now, and all of you guys have been talking shit about Marvel for a while. So you want them to start out strong like Marvel and just end up where Marvel is? That's the path you want? That's the blueprint you want them to follow?
Equivalent. And then with phase two, then you can start bringing in these fucking
The phase thing is so Marvel. That's so Marvel. When DC has already came out and said they're treating their properties more like Star Wars than Marvel, these guys keep wanting to try and push them back into the Marvel box.
Subsidiary characters like Supergirl that are way too weak to stand on their own in their own movies. And then you've got some sort of solid base to build them off. As it is.
So what about Clayface? Right? What do you think about Clayface? Because Clayface is a very, very niche character compared to Supergirl. If we're talking about characters to carry their own movies. So if Clayface comes out and it's a massive success, independent of all these other movies, right? Its own little thing, then what is the excuse going to be then? What is it going to be? Because right now, what you're saying, all of these arguments you're making would make it seem like Clayface is also going to be a flop. It's also going to be bad. It's going to underperform. It's not going to do anything for the studio. So when Clayface does come out, if it does end up being a massive success, what does it mean for your criticism of Supergirl right now? Because something doesn't add up.
You've got, one movie and a fucking TV show that no one cared about? That's all you have to try and build off of with Supergirl. There's no foundation there.
So this is the other thing that gets under my skin about these guys, and we're going to wrap this up here in a minute. Why can't Supergirl just be judged on its own merit? What happened to the days of watching a movie, judging the movie, and deciding whether you like a movie based on the movie? not based on how it compares to other movies, box offices, not budgets, Marvel stuff, Avengers, the previous Superman movie, random TV shows. Why can't we just wait until Supergirl comes out and then go in and see if the movie is good or bad as an individual movie before we start screaming the sky is falling? Why are we in this place we're in now where this is film criticism? All of this like astroturfing and poisoning of the well, all of this stuff happening right before the movie comes out. We haven't seen the movie. We've only got a few teasers from it. Like, why is this film criticism? I would say this isn't film criticism. Like, if we're being straight up, this is box office analyzation based on all kinds of random, inserted things. Like, oh, we're going to analyze the box office and we're going to start naming off random things that we think could be wrong with this that have nothing to do with the actual quality of the movie itself. Because there's so many things. They're talking about fatigue of stuff. They're talking about fucking other movies, legitimacy of characters, who the average consumer wants to see. I mean, it's just a million things. And none of them really have much to do with whether or not the movie is going to be good. Do any of those things affect whether or not the movie is going to be good? My answer to that is no. I don't think any of those things are going to affect whether or not the movie is good. These guys are just sitting around complaining about a movie they haven't seen yet and trying to build a narrative.